So people, the Reti Open is still alive. Vincent Keymer beat Deac in the second round of the Romanian Grand Slam Tour with this opening, this very old opening invented by Reti. The idea of this opening is develop the bishop to b2 fast with b3. Okay, you can play in the first move, but the problem of mate b3 in the first move is that you allowed 5. That's why Keymer start with knight f3, and after d5 he goes for the Reti opening. It's an interesting system to face lower rated players than you, especially in the lead, yes, more or less in these top levels. That everybody against e4 and against d4 play very solid e5 here, and the Berlin, the Petrov, this type of positions. And for Vincent was an interesting option to play the red because they have 100 points less than him, and maybe he cannot play him in a position with less theory, but it's a position who keep all the pieces and all the pawns over the board. So to face low-rated players than you, I think that is very interesting. Instead of go for the 4 lines with e4 or d4 who can trade many pieces. Knight f3 and b3, keeping all the pieces over the board. It's a very interesting plan. If you want to win against lower rated players or players of your same level, to face Carlsen, I don't recommend knight f3 b3. So the problem of b3 early is that here black have e5. Okay, they have his theory too, and it's playable for white, but I prefer knight f3 first and later b3. Okay, Deac responds with bishop f5. I think that the London system is the easiest way to play against the Reti, the double fianchetto system. The London system with black is good to play against all the white strange systems. With when white start to just respond just one square in their first moves, I think the London system is easy to play for black. The plan is okay, just the normal in the London system: knight f6, e6, h6, bishop e7. The normal move is a London system, but with black. I never play London with white, but with black, I have no problem to employ this type of systems. Okay, bishop b2, here e6, and now e3 is the other normal move. Here e3, but Keymer goes for a double fianchetto. h6, and now d3, knight f6, knight d2, and here they play bishop c5. Some days ago, analyzing another game, I discovered that this move is good. All my life, I thought that bishop e7 here was the best move. Okay, I still thinking that bishop e7 was the best move, but I was, yes, I was surprised that bishop c5, the machine said that is more or less the same that bishop e7. So I still prefer bishop e7 after learning that. If bishop d2 just short castle and a5, and I prefer this setup for black. But interesting that bishop c5 is playable too. Bishop d6, okay, it's playable, but you have the problem of e4 and e5. Now, not because you can take everything, but yeah, one day after bishop d2, short castle, rook e1, and came e4 and e5 attacking both pieces. You can just play, you can play, sorry, bishop d6. You have options to push d5. E5, sorry, for example, you have more development with the knight on d7 and the rook on e8. You have enough time to play e5, bishop d6 is playable. But in this type of position, bishop e7 and this type of position is the normal setup for black. But bishop c5 is playable, and they are employed that. Bishop d2, short castle, and now he returned with bishop h7. There is no necessity to play this move. I'm not a huge fan of bishop h7 is if black doesn't attack the bishop. I think that, okay, if white attack the bishop with rook e1 and e4, or with knight h4 or something like that, not, of course, white is going to attack with rook e1, e4. Knight h4 here have not so much sense. But if white attack one day the bishop with rook e1 and e4, okay, then I'm going to go to h7. But for the moment, I have pieces undeveloped, so I prefer to still improving my position, keeping the bishop on f5 with a5 or knight c6. I prefer that by black. But okay, bishop h7 is a normal move. Rook e1, knight c6. I used to watch more this knight on d7, and I prefer maybe a little bit the knight on d7. But okay, the knight on c6, especially with the bishop on c5, because with the bishop on c5 I have no experience in this position. I know that with the bishop on e7 right here, the knight will go to d7. That's the normal square for the knight. But maybe with the bishop on c5, the knight on c6 is not bad. Rook e1, normal move. Now white plays a3, threatening b4, a5, normal move. And now d4. This move works because the knight is very bad placed on c6. In general, in the well, let's put this example: d4, d5. In all this type of position of the queen gambit, the knight on b6 on c6 is a bad piece. It's very strange to see a knight develop on c6 in the queen gambit. Okay, nowadays everybody in the league are trying many things, but it's not so common to watch the knight here. And the knight on c3 the same. Okay, you have the Joa London with bishop 4 and everything, but it's not a classic move, the knight on c3. So that's why here d4 works with the knight on c6. If the knight was on d7, the move d4 is not going to have so much sense. d4, bishop b7, c4, and like I said that the knight is bad placed on c6 in the queen's gambit position. That's why they can understand well the position and play knight b8, going for the d7 square. Okay, he played that in 2 tempos, but okay, well, in 3 tempos, but white plays the pawn on d4, who is covering the b2 bishop. So this is why knight b8 is fine. And very good move by Keymer too, knight d1, making the same than his opponent. He understands that his knight is bad placed on d2 and he improved the knight to c3. It's strange because black have the knight on c6 and he should have the knight on d7. And white is the opposite, have the knight on d2, but this knight should go to c3. Especially to with the d2 square for this knight. Knight b8, knight b1, knight d7. Here, still follow the plan is slightly better, but okay, knight fd2 is not bad. But here black have this strong move, knight e4. The idea is just trade pieces and equalize the game. By the way, this means a change in the structure, so it's not so clear. Here black can take with both pieces. By the way, the position is more equal, or black can take with the pawn too. By the way, c6 the normal move, knight c3, rook e8. Right, like I say at the start of the video, this position is good to play against low-rated players because you are keeping all the pieces and all the pawns over the board. So, for example, a good player maybe can find this maneuver of knight b8, knight d7, but maybe a weaker player cannot find it. So it's a very interesting position to play for win with white. Knight fd2, c6, knight c3, rook 8, and now white have all his pieces well placed. And following the plan, white should break with e4. That's the reason of why he played knight c3 and knight fd2, e4, typical breakthrough. Now black should take. And here Deac he plays the queen on b6, which is bad place. The queen is bad place on b6 because c5 is coming with a tempo in many lines. And this is going to be bad for black because the d6 square is going to be more important than the d5 square. Here, or take and queen c7, or just queen c7 directly are better options for black. Okay, queen b6, played by Deac, a mistake. And here c5 was the key move, going to the d6 square. Okay, black is having the d5 square, but the d6 square is more important. It's not the same a square in the 6th rank than a square in the 4th rank. So a knight on d5 is not so scary. Queen c7, knight f6, knight f6, and now knight c4, going for the d6 square. And like I said, this square is more important than the d6 square is more important than the d5 square. Okay, instead of that, he played rook e3, trying to improve a little bit the position and defending the b3 pawn. Rook a8, queen e2. Okay, like white is not playing normal move. 94. Here, very good move, bishop e4, understanding that the h7 bishop is going to be better than the g2 bishop. It's sometimes it's strange because the g2 bishop defends well the white king, but with the pawn on c6, this bishop has less value, and the h7 bishop is in open diagonal. Knight a4 here is worse. For example, the same position with knight f6, knight e2, like in the game. Here black have this very powerful exchange sacrifice with rook d4, bishop d4, and queen d4. And here the h7 bishop is very annoying, and the g2 bishop is not making so much. So this exchange sacrifice is very interesting. So very good move by Keymer, bishop takes c4. Like I say that this position there are many positional ideas and positional themes that you are not a good player, you can miss that and you can outplay your opponent more or less easy. Bishop takes knight e4, knight f6. White have more special advantage, so blacks just try to trade pieces and good idea. White try to keep pieces over the board because he have more special advantage. Black have two pieces, the knight and the bishop, who wants to go to the f6 square. So if you just trade it one, he have one piece for one square. But now black have problems because he have two pieces who wants to go to who both pieces wants to go to the same square. So very good move by Keymer, playing 92. Now white is still having the idea of c5 and knight c4, knight d6 one day. Queen c7, finally, they can understand that the queen is bad placed on c7, knight f3, knight g4. The idea of knight g4 is avoid knight e5, because now this knight is coming to e5. Okay, it's a little, could be a little bit annoying, so knight g4, avoiding knight e5, rook d3, knight f6. He just returned because yes, they understand that he have no active plan, so he's just waiting to see what white is going to do because black position is very solid. And here, black instead of still waiting, he should play b5. The idea of b5 is that if c5, now at least black have. Okay, I say that the d6 square is more important than the d5, but now the d6 square is well defended, and both late square bishop are traded, so the d5 square is stronger, and the white knights already have some troubles to reach c6. d6, sorry, especially because the pawn is on b5. If this pawn was on b7, a knight on c4 is going to be more powerful. Because have the e5 pawn under attack. Let's put arrow, sorry. 92, 94, if this pawn was here. Oh, you have the a5 pawn under attack, the b6 square, the d6 square, e5 square. And knight on c4 could be a bit. But with this pawn on b5, black is fine. Here, if for example, if knight d5, just take and c5, trying to play pieces and pawns and make the draw. But b5 here was an important move. Instead of that, Deac is still waiting. Here c5 was a very good move, winning a tempo over the bishop, and now in 85, reaching c4, and like I explained previously, the knight on c4 cover b6, d6, e5, attacks a5. The knight on c4 is going to be very good. Keymer is still playing random moves. Both players are just waiting, and finally, Deac understand that he should play b5 to reach the position with c5 with the pawn more active. So very move by Deac. Defended bad in an active way. Rook c1, keeping the tension. Good idea. You cannot take on b5 because if not, black is going to take the d5 square for free. And with white, you should keep an eye on your bishop because you should take care because your bishop on b2 for the moment is okay. It's not a bad piece, but you should be careful with white with this bishop. Rook c1, queen b8, leaving the f5. Queen e2, rook a8. Maybe he have the idea of play 4 one day. Yes, a4 here can be a threat, maybe. Rook e3, and now he just take and return to the b5. Black is just, yes, playing solid. Rook c2, a4. Great, white have good advantage in the center with these c4 and d4 pawns. More or less a little bit advantage in the king side, but black is creating some counterplay in the queen side. 95, bishop d6, 93. I really like this knight maneuver because on d3, okay, he's covering many central squares like c5, e5. Here, because black some ideas in these positions would be, for example, c5, trying to break the position and trade many pawns, or e5 one day. Here, e5 looks so difficult. But the knight on d3 is covering both white breakthroughs and is defending the b2 bishop. So very good move, 95, 93. Bishop b7, queen f3, added with the knight on d3, you give the f3 square to the queen to attack the c6 pawn. Very good idea. And now he start with the kingside expansion. It's not like a huge attack to the king, but h4 for the moment is just winning space. Queen a8. Here was a good moment to play b5, and with the idea of knight b4 and attack the c6 pawn, and the d7 knight and the f8, sorry, 7 bishop are not good pieces. Knight f4 instead of that, bishop f8, and here I don't know if criticize or not the move of Keymer, because maybe g4 give him the victory. I don't know if g4 give him the victory, because okay, he won thanks to a kingside attack, but this move with accurate defense by Deac will be not the best. So I'm going to say that it's an interesting move. Here I put W's in my marks, but now I'm going to say that it's an interesting move. Who, thanks to g4, Keymer takes the victory, but against maybe a better player, he this a better player with black can penalize a little bit this move. But okay, there's not. No, it's not bad. It's not a bad move. It's just you are opening your king a little bit, and it's not clear your plan. But okay, I'm going to say that g4 is an interesting move. It's okay. You are opening more your king, but your plan is attacking the king side. So okay, I accept this move. Here, rook b3 was a good sacrifice, great counterplay. That's what happened when you open your king, because with the pawn on g3, the move rook b3 have no so much sense. With g4 that the white king is more exposed, I'm not going to say that black is going to kill the white king in two moves, because all the black pieces are so far from the white king, and white have many pieces close to his king. But mm, you are opening your king, and when you open your king, when your opponent when your opponent open his king, you should open the position with rook b3, and now you eliminate one defender to the white king, and now very good idea c5, opening the queen, opening the bishop, opening the knight, and here black have very good counterplay for the pawn. Bishop d6 is another normal move, attacking the knight, knight h5. Here he return, playing very passive play, and he play bishop f8, very passive. He should play more active. Because wide open his king, and okay. The rest of the game I accept that the black position just needs to be solid and passive, and you just should defend. But after d4 I think that is the moment to change your mind and try to attack the white king. So here bishop d6, but here rook b3 is necessary, bishop f8 going back, and finally Keymer understand that he should play c5, closing the a8 queen, closing the f6 knight, and closing the bishop. Rook b3 again was the best move. g6, knight g3, and finally, there I can understand that he should play rook b3. But now I really like how Keymer react after rook b3 instead of. But okay, no, I'm not going to criticize g6 because it's the move 40. In the move 40, you shouldn't make like important decisions, especially if you can play a normal move like g6, eject the knight, and then play rook b3. But okay, g6 is a important decision too, because you are moving your castle pawn. So yes, rook b3 here was just necessary. g6, finally he played rook b3, but came instead of take the rook and take the pawn on b3, he still playing active with h5. Let's see how far is the black queen from the king. Normally when the king, sorry, when the queen of your opponent is so far from his king, you should attack the king, because the queen is the best defensive piece, and if they are so far from the king is in danger. And here, finally, black, yes, the action missed, and he played g takes h5. The only defense here was rook takes a3, f takes, and bishop g7, just keeping the position solid. The problem of g takes h5 is that now the black king is also open. Yes, but I think that bishop g7 here is the most natural move, because the pawn on g6 keeps the g3 knight very passive. Okay, after, for example, if white take, I don't know if h takes is the best move, but okay, I accept that the white king is so exposed and white have many weaknesses. All black pawns are weak. But this knight have no good square are well covered. This bishop is still not attacking. The rook, okay, the rook can king, but white pieces still are not so active. The problem of g takes h5 is that now, after take, okay, you can move the rook, but now the knight have the h5 square to be active. So here, rook e2 was the best move by Keymer. Instead of that, he played rook c3, who looks so natural. But d4, h4, sorry, very good move. Knight h3, knight h5, sorry, bishop e7, d5. Very good move, d5, opening the b2 bishop. Maybe if you have the rook on e2, have more sense. But okay, rook c3, d5, opening the bishop. And here, Deac made his decisive mistake. He should play bishop d5. The idea of bishop g5 is avoid rook e3, of course, because the rook on e3 is going to be so annoying because it's opening the bishop. And here the bishop defend h6. It looks like it's a very good bishop. Defend queen f4, rook f3 ideas. Then you are opening your rook, so bishop g5 looks like a very pretty move. Here d6 was the best, except of that the Deac failed with he takes f5, and now the attack is devastating because after queen f5 and rook f3, now let's see that the four uh, white pieces are attacking. Four pieces, and with black pieces are defending. This queen is not defending. The knight is far. The bishop is not defending, and black have four pieces without defense, and white is attacking with four pieces. So when this happened, the tactic came rook e3 and rook e6 with technique. Later rook d6 or rook h6, or if you take queen d6. So very good game by Keymer. I really like his approach of the opening instead of go for a main line. He just played the Reti opening to trying to outplay his opponent in a more strategic way, keeping all the pieces and all the pawns over the board. So after 2 rounds, Brach, who beat Sindarov, and Biel, who beat Firuza, and Keymer are in the top of the board with 1.5 of 2. So let's see how continue the tournament. Follow me because I'm going to say the best game of the next rounds. Bye bye.